Good morning. I was praying and I was thinking about all those that go to church on Sundays and their lives really don't much look different than, an atheist neighbor or somebody that doesn't have anything to do with going to church. And I was thinking about in 2 Timothy 3 where it talks about, in the last days, people will be lovers of themselves, boastful, proud, lovers of money, all these different things he names off, and then it says at the end that they will settle for a form of godliness but deny its power. And that's what I believe, that's where my heart goes out to those that are just going through the motions of church without experiencing the fullness of the power of God. And where I believe the power source comes from is as we lay down our self-life. We experience His strength, His power, His peace, His joy, His love, His contentment in our lives flowing out of us. But we have to lay down that self-life to experience it. And too often we're trying to incorporate Jesus in, but that's still centered in self. And there's no power in that because it's all about you. There's so much power in laying down of the self-life and experiencing God's fullness flowing through you. Then the fruit of the Spirit is part of who you are. It's a gift of God from a submitted life. That was one of the questions last night in our group. We were talking about, have you truly submitted your life to God? It's as simple as that, because that is where everything is. Now all of a sudden, if you've look at through the lens of if you've submitted your life to God, you're not going to be tossed around by the circumstances of life. You are going to have the peace of God within you to go through anything. It doesn't mean we're not going to go through suffering and heartache and brokenness and all those things, but you'll have God's peace with you because it's from Him instead of you trying to do it on your own. If you'd have just incorporated Him into your life, when tragic situations come your way, what are you going to do then? Because it's not you see what I'm saying? Because you're still at the center, you're at the core. But when you lay down your life, Galatians 2:20, for I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. There's peace and freedom and joy and contentment that comes from God when we lay down our self-life. Or we can choose to hold on to that self-life. It is our choice. Come to me, all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest for your souls. Yoke yourself to me, learn from me. That's what it's all about. Simplicity of the gospel. Lay down self-life, experience God flowing through you, and just enjoy the life you've been given. Never envy anybody else. You don't see your value. If you understand God's beauty and His love and His mercy and grace in your life, you aren't going to envy anybody else's life. Now all of a sudden you've been set free to love people unconditionally because you aren't at the core of your life anymore, And then we're able to truly love God with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our strength, with all of our mind, and love our neighbor as ourself. If not, it's still all about you at the center. You have to lay down that self-life in order to experience the fullness of what God has for you. Empty yourself of yourself so you can be filled with the love of God. God bless y'all.